a show where I try to educate real stories.
Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. We have a guest in the audience, Mr. Odomes, that wants to talk about his feelings of being wrongly convicted. And you know, this is a show that I created in 2011 for people to be able to express themselves under the First Amendment, freedom of speech, to talk about what happened to them and to educate people about the criminal justice system through people's stories. And it's all about education. It's all about free speech and people being able to debate and look at both sides. In my private practice, I had people that called me every day telling me, you know, I didn't do that, I need your help, but they didn't have the money for me to help them, or in many cases, there was no help that I could give them because they were already convicted and they had exhausted all of their appellate remedies. And so I said, well, if people tell their stories about their experiences in the criminal justice system, that would be helpful to other people who might have to go through those experiences so they understand it. Because what's frustrating to a lawyer is when people tell us how the system's supposed to work in a system that we work in every day that they have no experience in. So without any further ado, I will go to Mr. Odomes. So please introduce yourself to the audience, and thank you for having the courage to tell your story.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Donald Odomes, and I want to thank y'all right now for inviting me here.
Okay.
And I just have a few things I would like to share with everybody. And
okay, well, first of all, we want to know who Donald Odomes is. Tell us where you were born, how you were raised. Tell us some little things about yourself.
Okay, I was born in Houston at one of the hospitals everybody know, Jefferson Davis.
Okay.
And I have, well, I'm going to say this, and my mother had 10 kids.
Oh, wow.
7 boys and 3 girls. I'm the baby of the family.
Wow.
And I lost all of them whilst I was gone.
Oh, wow.
Even my mom, so I lost a lot of family. And
were you raised with just a mother, father?
yes, I just had a mother. I didn't have a father.
Okay.
So my mom and my grandmother raised me.
Okay.
And I was always taught from both of them to, if you done something, you say you did it. If you didn't do it, then live for it.
Okay.
And no matter what the cost may be. And that's how I grew up.
Okay.
Listening to my grandmother and my mama.
Were you able to go to high school and finish high school?
Well, I got in high school, but I did what I did when I got in 11th grade. Before I went there, I volunteered for the military.
And what school
I'm a veteran. I was at MC Williams. I was at MC Williams High School.
And what branch of the military did you go into?
I went to the Army.
Okay. So what year did you go to the Army?
Oh, wow, 70, it was 70-something, right before school, right before the 11th grade.
And you could go straight to the military then?
Yes, I got my card in my pocket right now.
But I'm just saying, so you didn't have to graduate back then to go to...
No.
Because I don't think they let you.
Well, they was
to
going to draft
now.
me.
Huh?
I have one brother in the military. He stayed in Phoenix, Arizona, and he was like an airplane. He was in the Air Force. So I was the last child, the baby. So they was going to go ahead and draft me. So when I went to Palm Center, the sergeant let me know when he seen me. He said, "Come here." He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to find out about who is Uncle Sam." He said, "Well, that's the man sent for you." I said, "Sent for me for what?" He said, "Well, I tell you what, come on in my office and let me tell you how this going. Okay, you up for the draft. They're going to draft you, and they're going to send you straight to Vietnam." He says, "Oh, you got an option. You can volunteer right now, and I can send you anywhere you want to go." I said, "You can?" I said, "If I volunteer?" He said, "Yes." I said, "How about California?" He said, "Fort Ord, California, that's a good place to go." And that's why I took my basic training at Fort Ord, California.
Okay. So you went to California.
Yes, ma'am.
Fort what?
Fort Ord.
Odd? Okay. Okay, and that's where your brother was?
No, my brother was in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, not
Yeah, he was in
not
the Air Force.
4 though. So brother was in the Air Force. Okay, so tell us about how long were you in the Army?
Oh, wow. I was in the Army from 73 to like, I did what? I did 6 years. I did 6 years.
So that would be the 79?
Yes, ma'am. Something like that, about 79.
Were you in California the whole time?
No, ma'am, because I went to Fort Hood.
And that's in Texas, right? Or-
Yes, ma'am.
Colleen, to be specific.
Yeah, how you do? Wait a minute.
He's an Army, he's an Army
veteran.
I
veteran.
see you.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
my
By
colleague.
the way, thank you for your service.
Yes, sir. You too. And
So then from there, where'd you go?
okay, from there, I went to Fort Riley, Kansas. And I
Okay.
went there for USARB. That was a retraining brigade.
Okay.
So when you did a little something wrong, you know, say you went out of place or you didn't come back when everybody was going to Vietnam, and I wasn't going, because I was taught that if you kill it and you can't eat it, don't kill it. And that's how I was raised. So I told them I wasn't going, and
You
I
weren't
meant
kill
that.
anybody.
No. And I went to USARB, that's United States Retraining Brigade. I can do training all over again, and they would send me back. But I worked for a 5-star general, and he gave me a general discharge under honorable conditions.
Okay, good.
And yes, ma'am, that was a blessing for me. So it was a good experience.
What was your job in the Army?
I was 71 T20. I was the equipment maintenance clerk.
I like that. You can't kill it, can't eat it, don't kill it.
Yes, ma'am.
I like that. So tell us, so when you got out in 1979, when you got out discharged from the Army, did you come back to Houston? What was your next move?
Yes, ma'am. I came back to Houston. I went to Texas Southern for a while to get my GED, and I finally got that from them because they was paying us to go. They was giving us a pension to go to Texas Southern University and get off into some kind of class. So I took that up and got that.
Okay. And then what kind of trade did you do?
I didn't. All I did was got my GED.
Okay.
But right now, my trade now is just I'm a painter, and this is what I do.
Okay.
So,
Tell me how you got in trouble.
well, first of all, telling this guy, I was staying in the Garden City Apartments.
Garden City
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in Houston?
Yes, ma'am. That's in Houston.
Who did you live with?
I lived with my wife.
Okay.
But this is what happened.
Is that in 79, 80?
Yes, ma'am. You got it right. That was it. 79.
Okay.
This lady stayed down the sidewalk. Her brother, he's in this paper right here. His name is Paul Wilkins.
Mm-hmm.
He broke into his sister's house and stole her television and stereo and everything. So when I did see her, I let her know that he had did this, because she come down there telling my friend that somebody broke in my house and stole my kid's television. I said, no, your brother done that. So I guess he found a way that he said, okay, I'm gonna get him one day. And this is what he did. So we never did become friends again because of the way he done that. But he did in trial. During our trial, he was there. He took the witness stand.
Don't skip that forward. So we're
It's too far? Okay.
Don't skip. You skipping too far forward.
Okay.
So Mr. Wilkins, his first name is Brian.
Now, Paul.
Paul Wilkins stole his sister's TV. You told it on him.
Yes.
And then what else? Then what happened after that in your life?
Well, I became his enemy then. So I guess he said he figured out some kind of way.
Okay, got it. And then what happened in your life though after that?
Well, we moved to East Texas.
Okay, so what made you move to East Texas?
Oh, to get some finances, working with the uncles and nephews and all that down there.
You had family there?
Yes, she did.
Okay, and then what happened?
Oh, and then I worked there a while. I stayed down there for a while.
What's a while?
Like 3 years, maybe 4 years, at the most, 4 years.
Okay, and then what happened?
Well, I come back home, and when we got back to our apartment that we already had, because we kept paying on it.
For 4 years?
Yes, we paid.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. I had the money. I was hauling Puckwood.
Okay.
Yes. But we came back, and when we got back, a week later, the police come, followed her from work, because she worked at Burger King, followed her from work to the house in plain clothes, in a plain car. And when she walked in the door, they come in too. And she told them, put the guns up, because I got 2 kids here. They hugging on them because they was hollering and screaming. And they told them that Donald Odomes was under arrest. And I say, what for? He said, for the rape of a lady. I said, I ain't raped no lady. Well, we'll find out that when you get out of town. Turn around. So they marched me off.
Mm. And then tell me how that experience happened after that.
Well, It went from there to getting down to finally they took me. I wanted to go to trial.
So just tell me how. I mean, when they took you downtown, did they question you? Did you talk to them? Tell me what happened when you went.
Sergeant Ralph Yarbrough, something a name I never forget. He sit me down and he told me like this: "You tell me you raped that white woman, and I'm gonna go soft on you." And by me being, I say, "Sir, I don't even know what you're talking about, and that's something I would never do. You'll say anything. Now, you tell me you did this, I'm going to go light on. If you don't, I'm going to make sure you get the max." I say, "Well, you make sure you do that, sir, because I'm not going to tell you I didn't do nothing. I did that and I didn't. So you might well get that in your head right now with me, sir." "Okay, Mr. Smarty." So he left out the room. Before I knew it, they come put handcuffs on me and told me, "Let's go."
Okay, and then did you get a bond? Did you bond out?
No, they didn't give me a bond. They wouldn't even give me one. They took me straight to trial, Thomas Route, 208 District Court.
Mm-hmm. And when I first became a lawyer, he was already dead in 1992.
You sure know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, have mercy, he sure was.
He was already dead in 1992. Yeah. Denise Collins had that. So right after he died, they Ann Richards was the governor, and she appointed John Kiles.
Okay.
John Kiles took over that court after Route. He had been a prosecutor in Harris County and with the feds, and he took it over, but he lost it to the Republican sweep in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
But yep. All right. So you went straight to trial after that. Do you remember how long you were in jail before you went to trial? Do you remember?
I was in there a while, because they took me to Tuscaloosa, and from there I had to go to somewhere. They were just moving me around.
Well, they said the file. I think that the case was filed in 1988.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then I guess you went to trial in 1989.
Yes, something like that. Yep, right there.
And did you have to get a court-appointed lawyer?
Yes, Mr. Frank Rush.
And tell me how that went. What did you get it? What kind of evidence did you have to try to defend yourself, to say that you didn't know this person, you never been around him? Did you? When you were accused of doing it, was that during the time that you were living in East Texas?
Yes.
Could you prove that?
Yes. Frank Rush wouldn't call him. I told him to subpoena everybody there that's in East Texas. He wouldn't do it. I asked him twice. He said, "No, they might come say the wrong thing." I said, "Those people are country people. If you subpoena them, they're going to say what they're supposed to say, sir."
They're going to say what happened?
Yes. And he wouldn't do it.
Really? Did you put that in your appeal or in your writ that he didn't subpoena?
Yes, I did that. I put that in there. Not only that, I filed on him, along with the rest of them that was with him, but I filed on him, and they told me I wasn't getting nothing from Frank Rush. This is what the circuit court told me right there in downtown. And yes, I did, because he wasn't doing his job.
He didn't. So he did not subpoena the witnesses.
No, he did not.
But in the
Let's not go that far yet. Subpoena. Let me just talk about that first. Subpoena witnesses, because that's the main thing. If you're living in East Texas, you need to have the witnesses and the work. Did you have a work history where you got a real pay stub, or were they just paying you cash?
Cash money. That's and I got married down there. Mm-hmm. That's why I got married. I had a marriage license. I showed it to him, but it didn't. But Frank Rush said it didn't mean nothing to him.
So he didn't show you marriage license? No,
he did not. I gave him my marriage license. I said, "I was getting married during this time this happened, sir. February the 15th. That's my birthday, too." I said, "I got married in the same time that." Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I don't think we're going to do it like that, because I hate to call them down here, and they say the wrong thing, you know. Mr. Rush called them.
Wow.
Subpoena them. Make them come.
Wow. And what other evidence did you have?
Well, that was the only evidence I had during the time with Mr. Frank Rush, because from then on out, Sergeant Yarbrough, Lord have mercy.
Now let me tell you what's strange though. A young person that doesn't have much money to keep an apartment for 2 or 3 years and pay for something you don't live in is strange. Why would you do that? Because that makes it seem like you're still in Houston.
Well,
you know what I mean? Because
yes.
usually when people move, they don't pay they get a new apartment if they move back, but they don't keep an apartment that they're not living in for 3 years.
Well, I wasn't going to be that long, see. I just went down there to make some extra money because the jobs wasn't really going good for me. So she wanted to go to East Texas, and I was all right with that. I could travel in like I wanted to, so that was okay. to go down there and make the money and pay it like that, because she would mail it to him all the time, so that was good.
Okay. But you never thought about like getting rid of that expense. Where did you live? Did you get an apartment in East Texas?
No, we was living at a home with her uncles. She had a whole bunch of uncles because all they did was do puckwood and log hauling. So we stayed with them. We stayed with one of the uncles. And he came to court and testified also. His name was Hatchet Harden. And they dismissed him, and they dismissed my wife, and they dismissed me. They said we were all covering for each other.
But did he get to testify?
Yes, he got up there and testified. And it hurt me so bad the way they was treating him, because this is a man born in the country. He'd go by day and night. He asked him about remembering something. He said, well, I know I took him to work, but I don't know. And then,
day it is?
Yeah, it was February, though. It was his birthday, because we went after his birthday. And he trying to explain to them, I took him to work. And the man said, no, they're covering for it. That's the district attorney. They are covering for each other. And then he says, the district attorney said something else to him. And he started tears. I said, say, excuse me, sir. Your Honor, may I say something, sir? Let him
That's out of
down.
order.
Don't say nothing to him no more. Yeah, but it was hurting me to see him up there crying, because they're telling him something, and he's trying to tell them what happened, how it happened, and what didn't happen, but they didn't want to hear that.
Right.
They really didn't. And that kind of hurt me a lot. So I asked the judge, could he stop that? And he did. He told him, you can step down. So he stepped down, and I was happy with that, because they was drilling him too hard. He wasn't ready for that.
Right.
No, he wasn't.
And I bet you didn't expect that experience, did you?
No. I didn't expect for them to do him like that.
All right.
So that was taken care of, which was no problem.
But generally, the lawyer is supposed to prepare people.
He wouldn't. He didn't
I'm
do
not
that.
criticizing your lawyer, but I'm just saying that when you call a witness, that's one of the things that's difficult, and that might have been why your lawyer was saying they're not going to testify right. But it's up to the lawyer to explain, kind of practice, how am I going to explain this? Because like you said, the lawyer's supposed to know that when they interview the witnesses before trial, that they country, they don't keep watches, they're not paying attention to time other than day and night, but they can associate it with certain events like your birthday,
Yes,
or like
ma'am.
when someone got married.
Yeah.
And the lawyer has to kind of bring that out to the jury, to have the person testify to that at the beginning before they can get drilled.
Okay.
But I understand your frustration with that. Did you have any other witness testify for you? You said your sister did? Or your wife, did she testify?
Yeah, she testified.
And so how did that go?
Well, it didn't go too good either.
Why is that?
Because if he come to me and asked me, did I mind him taking her to dinner? I told him if she want to go, if she wants to go.
Who asked that?
Frank Rush. He come ask me, was it okay to take my wife to dinner? I said, yeah, if she want to go to dinner with you. He said, and you know what? The way you're dressing, you got some rags. How much money you got? You got some money? I said, I don't have any money right now, sir. I said, all my money, I spend it on everything that I needed, assets and things that we needed.
But you were in jail when he asked you that?
I was in the courtroom when he asked me that.
Oh, he asked. I'm trying to understand this. Since you were in jail, I'm just trying to fast forward to how did he ask you about money?
In the courtroom.
Just privately?
Yes, he asked me. And when I was sitting there, he come over there and asked
But I'm
me.
just saying nobody else was listening.
No. He asked me how much money did I have.
And why did he ask you that? How did you feel? Why did you feel he was?
He was already state appointed, and I didn't feel good when he asked me that. I told him, I said, I don't have any money. He said, but you look at these clothes you're wearing and shoes. I said, but this stuff been bought a long time ago, Mr. Rush. I said, this was bought a long time ago when I had money. I don't have that money now. Mm-hmm. Well, okay then. From now.
How did that make you feel?
I didn't feel good about it. I really didn't. But.
So tell me what the evidence was. So a lady got on the witness stand and said, you're the one that raped her? Is that what happened?
Okay.
How did that go?
I'm glad you asked me that. The lady, I'd never seen her before in my life, but Ralph Yarbrough, the head man that was doing all the research on this sexual assault thing, okay, he had already showed her a mug shot of me from a forgery.
Case.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, he had showed her me already in the third place. So Frank Rush did do something. He asked for another lineup, okay? Now, he come and line us up. Frank Rush did. He put me first to second place. Ralph Yarbrough come in there and changed it. He come back and put me in the third place, the same place that he did when he showed the girl of the other case that I had. He showed her this photo already in the third place. So he changes me up, move me here, move me there, move me there. And some guy say, man, why don't you come over here, man? Because that man tell that girl something just a while ago, man. I said, yeah, okay, because I wasn't worried because I know I didn't do anything. But a guy next to me tells me this. I said, man, he just told her something when he passed by with you. He let her know he's number 3.
Wow.
So they gave her a second chance to view me.
Wow. So it was actual lineup.
Yeah, we was in the lineup behind the window.
Wow.
And he gave us another chance at saying, yeah, he's the one.
And that's strange. So how did y'all deal with that in trial? Did that come out?
No, it didn't.
Did you testify?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I got up there and testified. And I also, when I told the judge, about...
Now, was this before a jury or just the judge?
No, this was before the jury. The jury was there, too. That's why they told the jury that we was covering for each other.
Okay.
This was the district attorney telling them, no,
Okay.
they covering for each other, and he's not going to tell the truth. Why are you saying this? And I tried to get it straight with I did. I tried everything I could with Mr. Thomas Rod up there. Because I asked him, the people sent 3 letters out there to him by the bailiff. 3 times they sent 3 papers out there questioning him about, we can't make a decision because we don't have enough evidence to see this. Because it seems like too much stuff is here that shouldn't be here. And they went back in there. The bailiff come back out again. He brought another one. So that's when I raised my hand after she left. I said, Your Honor, can I approach the bench? He said, yes. I said, can I ask you a question, sir? I said, aren't you over this courtroom? Yes, I am. I said, can't you give them an instructive verdict? He said, now let them think for themselves. They got all the paperwork in there. I said, eventually they can't think for themselves, sir. They didn't send the bailiff in there 3 times with some paperwork telling you this. Well, okay, well, just go have your seat over there. I did all I could to let them know, but...
Let's talk about you testifying before it gets to that point.
Okay, well, I testified, and he asked me a lot of questions. The district attorney said something.
Well, when you first testified, Frank Rush, your lawyer, asked you the questions. How did that work?
Well, he didn't really ask the appropriate questions. He asked some questions like, where were you when this took place? I says, I was in East Texas. I said, don't you have it in your files? He said, yes, but when did you come here? And I told him when we came. He asked me something, and the district attorney objected to it. And I said, why did he do that? He said, we'll just go along with the trial. And I'm saying in my mind, Mr. Rush, you're not helping me. I said, here, I'll tell you what. I said, can I speak to you for a minute? I said, I got my marriage license out there. You got them in the purse. Oh, no, that's not going to help. Why? I got that done in Center, Texas. I was in East Texas when I got this married man. Well, we'll see, I guess. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to help you.
Well, I understand your frustration. You want to at least try.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You should at least try it. There was a lot of stuff left out of there that should have been said.
So once the trial was over, the jury is deliberating. They sent out the 3 notes saying they couldn't make a decision. So once that happens, the judge has 1 or 2 options. Generally, the judge will send a note back and say, we call it a dynamite charge, but what they usually send a note back and say, try to continue to deliberate because the same thing that's you guys cannot agree on, another jury might have to try it and they'll have those same issues. So if it's possible, try to come to a conclusion, either guilty or not guilty, but do not do violence to your conscience.
Yes,
so for example, if there are 12 people are deliberating and I'm saying guilty and you're voting not guilty, don't change just to get out of there. If you're kind of in between, make a decision. Like if you're saying, well, I'm not sure if he is or not, everybody needs to make some decision. Either I believe he's guilty, or I can't say he's not guilty. I can't believe he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So once you take that verdict, that count, then come out and tell me what it is. So basically they just tell them, try your best to try to make a decision, but if you can't, do not do violence to your conscience.
Yes, ma'am.
So the judge can, and then that's one alternative, and then the other alternative is the judge can declare a mistrial, where the state can decide whether to try the case again.
Oh, okay.
But they can keep telling them to deliberate until the jury members themselves have to say, look, I quit, I'm not participating anymore, you're going to have to call a mistrial. But they'd have to know to do that. Like, I'm not sitting here anymore, I'm not making a decision. But generally, the judge tries to coach them into make a decision, because
Yes,
otherwise they have to listen to the same thing over again, and the same 12 citizens, not the same, but another batch of citizens will still have to, and usually reasonable minds differ. So if they don't agree with something, if this group doesn't agree, usually the next group is not going to agree. So either decide it's a hung jury, or you can't make a decision, or make one. So somehow, so the judges usually don't intervene and make them deliberate for at least a couple of days.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what they do, because otherwise somebody else is just going to have to see if they can just keep talking about it, meaning deliberate on it, until they can decide.
Let's say one more thing about Mr. Frank Rush. He come over there and he told me, he say, look, the district attorney's finna come talk to you. She gonna have a deal for you, and I think you ought to take it. I said, what deal you talking about, sir? She gonna offer you 15 years. I said, what are you trying to tell me, Mr. Rush? Well, I'm telling you that, I done did all I can do, and she's willing to give you, a break, the 15 years. I said, no, she ain't giving you no break. No, sir. He said, well, she'll be here in a minute. So she comes there, and she walks up to the cell, and she says, Donald Odomes, and everybody's sitting in there. They say, man, don't watch what you're saying, man, because that's a white girl, man, they gonna hang you. I said, man, shut up, man. Let me talk to this lady. Be quiet. She says, I've got something on for you right now. I'm willing to give you 15 years right now to sign this. I said, I'm not signing anything. And don't ask me that no more, ma'am. Please don't. So bye. But that's
Before you went to trial, do you remember what the plea bargain offer was?
No, they didn't have it on the table then.
Right.
She
There was nothing
came.
on the table because you said you didn't do it.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's appropriate.
Yes, ma'am. They didn't have nothing then.
And so, I guess the jury eventually finds you guilty,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And then, do you go jury punishment or judge punishment?
Let me see who did that punishment.
Who gave
The
you
judge, Thomas Roth, did.
So the jury left after they made the decision?
Yes.
That you were guilty?
Yes.
And so what was the punishment hearing about?
65 years. I don't know what he did that for, but they gave me 65 years, though.
Wow.
And
Now,
I
and
was-
you sure that the jury didn't do it?
No, the jury didn't do that.
Because even when the jury does it, the judge usually reads that verdict, reads
Yeah.
what they say, but you didn't have to have a hearing before a jury.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So he did that.
So he thought you did it?
Yeah. From the way Frank Rush did it, I thought that too.
Wow, I bet that was devastating.
And then this guy, let me share this with you. This guy, Wilkins, he wanted to take the witness stand. So the district attorney called him to take the witness stand. And he got up on that witness stand and he did the right thing.
What did he say?
He was asked a question. He said, did you make a statement? Did you write a statement on Donald Odomes? He said, yes, I did, but it wasn't a true statement. He said, because Yarbrough was calling me on my job, telling me to give him somebody to work with. And that's why I gave him Mr. Odomes' name, because I had a little vengeance against him with my sister that he told I broke in her house. But I lied on him. It wasn't a true statement that I made on him. Because the district attorney asked, so you don't remember? He said, I can't remember because it wasn't a true statement, ma'am. I just told you. And they left it like that.
So at least he told the truth.
Yes, he did. He got up there and told the truth. And that's in the paperwork that I got. Yes, he told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But that still didn't help me. They still gave me 65 years.
Wow. Wow. So how much time did you actually have to do?
Wow. I got out in 2012.
So how
I
many
did
years?
about 34, 35 years.
2.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a lot of time.
Yes, it was. And I was on one of the worst units in the system, Darrington, because during that time, there was a bunch of killing going on. But as for me, I was okay.
When did he know our friend? Didn't we have a guy that we were helping at the church that did 30-something years?
You're talking about the one that passed away, did 39 years.
Do you remember his name? I was just wondering if he knew him. And Mr. Baseball, too. I have to get some of those names. But anyway, I bet you know a lot of the guests we've had, because we've had a few.
Yes, I've seen quite a few of them on here. Yes, ma'am. I watch the show all the time.
Right, that you probably were in prison with.
Yes. Yes, I was. It's a lot of them that came through.
Because
here that I
that
knew.
baseball guy, I think that was a dope case, but I think he did about 30-some years. The guy that was a pro baseball player. I can't think of his name. And then there was another
I'm
guy.
going to tell you his name. Matter of fact, he used to be my celly at one time. Tall dude.
Tall,
kind of
real
slender,
tall guy,
dark
tall,
skin.
slender guy,
He was
yeah.
a baseball player.
Pro baseball player.
Oh, man, what his name
Yeah,
is. It's been
'cause
so long
he
since
talked
I
about,
seen
and
him.
he did a lot of time like you, and I think
Yes, he
was in
did.
Darrington. And there was another guy that was a tall, slim guy that went to prison before the AIDS epidemic, and he went through all of that when people were dying, and he worked with all the AIDS people. I think he went for killing his stepfather because he was raping his wife. He killed him in the heart. He found him, and he was there too. I can't think of his name because I've been doing this show for 7 years, so I can't think of his name. But there would be some people you'd know. But man, how'd you do that time? though? That's a lot of time.
Well, I was in maintenance, and I was on call plumber. So whenever that's how I did my time.
You learned how to be a plumber.
Yes, ma'am. Well, not only that, plus I was kind of like, I was a kind of gangster. So,
You were a gangster.
yes, I was a gangster.
You turned into a gangster in prison.
No,
or
I
what?
was a gangster when I went to prison.
Oh, you were.
Yes.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means that I wasn't acting right at the time. You know, I was, selling this, selling that, selling the drugs, and that was what I was doing.
I see.
And I always
In
kept it.
addition to the East Side, working. with
Yes,
the-
I had to, when I was doing that before I went to East Texas.
Okay.
And I started young because my mama had high blood pressure, a bad heart, and she had one of her breasts amputated. So I had to take any job I could get or any little thing that I could work with to make sure that I had the things that I needed. And that was something I never took home, and she never knew it.
Okay.
And I kept it that way. So when I got in prison, I was the go-to man.
For things.
Yes, ma'am. He was, say, plumber, we got this, you have to move that for me. Well, you gonna give me what I asked for, though. And that's it. But during that time, I must say this. I learned a lot. I really did. Not only did I learn a lot, my whole life was changed. Yes, it was. No cigarettes, no drugs, no smoking, no nothing. 23 years, none of that no more.
But you
Never
did
had.
34.
Yes,
so why you
ma'am.
say 23?
Well, because it was about 23 to me. It was like 23 years to me when I left out of there. So when I left, it was, I didn't do anything no more. No drugs, no nothing. I left there clean. And haven't did nothing since.
Okay, that's good.
And right now, I'm, like I said, I'm a February the 15th, my birthday, 1955. And I'm proud of myself for not doing anything. I can't even smell a beer. It makes me throw up.
Wow, that's wonderful. Because I
Yeah.
heard in prison when people do long time, they learn how to make alcohol. They know how to make liquor by fermenting the sugar.
You sure know about it. Yeah, you sure know about it.
Yeah, they learn how to do a lot of things, but you just didn't even do that. Huh?
No, ma'am. After I left there, I left everything back there. I asked to be clean before I left, Like it took me, I'm going to say it took me 3 years to read from Genesis to Revelation. And that's what changed my whole life before I left. And
I'm always fascinated by men who go to prison and how much they read the Bible and how much they learn from the Bible, because although the Bible is a beautiful book, it's a complicated book to me. And so, I'm smart, I've gone to school, I like to read, but it was always a complicated book to me. And I don't know why. So it's always interesting that people read it and understand it and remember quotes, because I find it complicated.
you do?
Well, how do you find it?
Well, seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive. Anything you want, anything that you need, and your Heavenly Father know you need it, He's going to give it to you. Be patient. It's coming. He's going to give it to you. He never left us. He has never left us. We left Him. He's always been there for us. And all you got to do is ask Him.
That's a good lesson to learn. How old were you when you went to prison or when they arrested you?
I was, I don't know, 20, 23, 20, something like that.
About 23. And how old were you when you got out?
Oh, wow, I was up there then. 30-some years. I don't remember.
You don't even keep up with stuff like that?
No, I don't. No, ma'am.
That is
No,
amazing.
I don't. I don't like, I like to leave the past alone.
Really?
Live for the future.
Wow.
So it's a lot of stuff that I did let out of my mind. The memory wasn't there no more.
Wow.
And what really did it though, I had a lot of family that passed, and that kind of messed with me a lot. So I was okay though. I'm a better man than I was.
You're a better man?
Oh, yes.
Why is that?
Because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't club, I don't do none of that. No, ma'am.
What happened to the wife you had?
Well, she finally turned her life to another section that she decided she wanted to go do the crack cocaine and all this here.
Wow.
Yes, she turned into crack cocaine and everything else she could get and didn't think I knew it. And there was guys coming in the prison telling me about her.
Wow.
Man, I seen your wife, man. Oh, you did? Yeah, man, we went and got us a ball, man, and we smoked. I don't want to hear that, man. And I tell them, I don't want to hear that, man. Find you somebody else to go talk to. Then she come down there with one shoe on, one left shoe on the right foot, and she want to come visit me. I said, look, go back out there and get in the car and go home. Then she crying, and then they sent for me. The warden sent for me. Your wife out there crying, why you got her crying? I said, I ain't got her crying, sir. I said, what she's doing got her crying. What is she doing? I said, I don't know, you might have to ask her that, sir. I wasn't finna tell him she's doing cocaine. You want to know, ask her. So that's how that happened. So that ended.
What happened to your children?
Oh, well, they still there. But they wasn't my children, no way.
Oh, they were, okay, so she
Yeah,
had
they were her children. Yeah, she had 2 girls.
So you didn't have any children?
Yes, I got a son.
Okay, what happened to him?
My son is, my son is okay.
Did you write him or communicate with
Oh,
him for
yes.
30 years?
Yes, ma'am. He brought my mother to see me, too. My mom couldn't walk. He packed in there. He was about just 16 years old then.
Wow.
He packed my mom in there. And the lady at the table, she didn't want to, at the place you sign in, she told him he couldn't come in there because he wasn't on my list. Mm-hmm. And another lady was standing beside her, knew me, had been there with me a long time. She said, excuse me, who you coming to see? He said, I come to see my dad. No, he said, is that his mother? He said, yes, ma'am. She said, take him on back there. Take her back there to see him. And she told her, next time, you ask me before you do something like that. Now, that's his mother, and I've been knowing him a long time, and he ain't caused me no problem. Let him see his mother. So that's how that went. I knew then I was.
But all your, you know what?
I was doing good.
You were doing good. Did your family, you said earlier that all of your siblings passed away with the 34 years you were in prison.
Yes, ma'am. My brother got shot 3 times behind the head in 5th Ward.
Is that the military brother? Or
No, that's my brother. No, that's my brother next to me. Mm-hmm. He got shot 3 times behind the head. And they put him in a shopping cart with a blanket wrapped up in a blanket and some carpet. Put him on side of Yale apartment somewhere. Mm. And
what about your other brother, the Air Force brother?
Oh, well, he passed since I've been home, though. He passed since I've been home. And, I never got a chance to go to my mom's funeral. They tried to get me an escort and everything. They told me I couldn't go because I had too much time. Mm. And I told the warden, he got me. He said, come on, let's take a walk. So they hadn't told me yet. And you know one thing you hate most in prison? Is the chaplain always calling you.
Because you know it's bad news.
Boy, she know, don't she?
She know it's bad news.
She know. You sure right.
You know it's bad news.
I told him, I said, sir, you're killing me, man. He said, no. I'm trying to make you strong for what I'm finna tell you. Back to back, everybody dying. One this week, one next week. Yeah. My sister got ran over by a car. And she stayed in, my sister stayed at Warden, Texas. She was crossing the street, and she was almost across the street, but a Mexican hit her and killed her.
Oh, my God.
So I went through a lot of stuff while I was in there.
Because you had 7 sisters.
Yeah, I know. It was 7 boys and 3 girls.
Oh, 7 boys and 3 girls. Okay.
Because my brother next to me, that's the one that was shot 3 times behind the head. And I have one brother left now. That's one of my oldest brothers. Mm-hmm. So it's just me and him now.
Out of 10?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
So
you watched a lot of people go. You knew that a lot of people passed. I guess you couldn't go to
Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am, I did. And I see all my friends that used to be my friends, they were getting killed too. They find them in ditches with pipes stuck through their noses. And you mess with them people, drugs, that's what they do to you.
Violent life, right?
Yes, ma'am. That is a very violent life to live. And that's a life no one should never want to live. Mm-mm.
So did you find that prison changed you in a way? I've noticed when I was in private practice that kids that were violent when they were young, by the time they went to prison or got to be 30 years old, the violence wasn't there anymore, or they weren't as violent as before. Why do you think that happens? What changes people as they get older from violence to less violent?
Well, when you're in an organization, Crips, Blood, Mandingo, Warriors, Disciples, and all this stuff I want to be. once you do so much, they called Darrington. Everybody was really scared of Darrington because it was a killing every day at Darrington. Every day, every minute, every hour, it didn't make them no difference. It got to the point to where the Mexicans had their own little thing, and they would all get together and they'd make a little plot and say, don't y'all come out on the rec yard because we finna take care of our business. And it was a mess. It was a really something to go through. And when I went and told all of them, the Mexicans, and I told all the disciples and all the rest of them, and I went and told them, I'm through, I'm finished, I'm not moving nothing no more, okay? Oh, say, come on, Odom, man. I said, what did I just say? Y'all not listening? I'm through, man. I'm not moving nothing no more.
What did that mean?
They drugs and everything that them women was bringing them in there, and the men was bringing them. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't moving it for them. I was the man moving because remember, I'm my own call plumber. When maintenance is closed, I can go anywhere I want to go.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because I had the keys that I can go back there and open up the stuff and get all the work, all the stuff I needed to go fix the toilets.
I see.
Well, not just fixing the toilet, but I was I was taking the drugs. And I'm not ashamed to sit and say I did that. Yes, I done that.
Did you ever get caught in prison doing that?
No, ma'am. No. You get caught when you're scared. And I had to go through that with a man. He was a sergeant. And I asked him, I say, I want to ask you a question. I say, you be busting a lot of people, you know. His name was Sergeant Kelly. I say, how do you know them people be dirty when you bust them? He said, I can tell they movement. When they see me, they like, oh man. And he said, I know, even the boss with them. So he put both of them on the wall. Sure enough, they got cigarettes, they got tobacco, they got weed, they got, yeah. So he lose the boss, man, he walked off the unit, and he go into the lockup. I said, well, let me ask you something, Mr. Kelly. I said, you've been knowing me a while around here. I said, I'm gonna ask you a question. I say, that's how you know how people got stuff, huh? He said, yeah. I said, what if I told you I had an ounce of weed on me right now? I said, now let's get something straight first. I know all your family, okay? We came up together, and I named all of them. He said, yeah, you know I'm a family. He said, but you wouldn't be standing up here beside me with no weed on you. I said, that's what I've been doing here for a whole hour. He said, come on, let's go to my office. So we went on to his office. We got in there. He said, now, let me see. I don't believe you. I put him on pants leg, and he said, man, you trying to tell me you been standing up there all that time? I said, yep. Yes, I have. I said, I know. If you scary, you're
Why did you admit that to him? Didn't you get in trouble for that?
Well, I'll show you what I did. I already know him. I went on to my cell. When I got there, I had 2 or 3 partners line. I said, here, man, hold this. Because I already know he's sending the police. See, he didn't want to do it because I know his family. But I know he's going to send the police. I know he's going to send them all. And here come about 15 of them. Odom, step out. Take your clothes off. Okay, they tore up my stuff, everything. I said, what y'all looking for? You know what we looking for. I said, no, I don't know what y'all looking for. Y'all gonna find it? Okay, all right, when y'all get through, let me know. They never found it because I already dropped it off to somebody. And he felt bad. When I seen him, he say, so you got away, huh? I said, no, you just messed with the wrong person, Mr. Kelly. I'm the wrong one, man. You at home sleeping and I'm doing this, man. So that's how I did it. But I'm away from all that now. And I'm happy that I am who I am now. I'm still trying to do this case because this man got all these fingerprints on them cars, that latest car that was driving. He got 2 people, and the second one they didn't show me. They didn't show this fingerprint the first time. They showed me the first one.
Well, you know, you're kind of jumping around, and if anybody's watching, they don't know what you're talking about. So talk to me about some things in your case that troubled you. So kind of start from the beginning so if someone's watching, they can kind of follow.
Okay.
What's bothering you? And when you're talking about fingerprints, nobody knows what you're talking about. So
They sure don't.
yeah,
You
that's
right
okay.
about
Explain
that.
it. Explain it.
Well, what's bothering me is that the way they did everything, I don't feel like it was very appropriate.
Let's talk about fingerprints. So you're talking about fingerprints. Tell me what fingerprint evidence was presented in your case against you. Was there any fingerprint evidence?
Yes, there were, but they never brought them up.
Okay.
They never showed the
Mr. Rush didn't bring it up?
No. They never brought up the fingerprints. I just got this.
Okay. And how'd you get that?
It was sent to another Denver Post. They got these people to go and review everything and go see what happened, and that's what they did.
Okay.
And that's how Denver, Colorado got involved.
Okay. So in 2007, I have in front of me an article that's in I guess the Denver Post. It says questionable rape conviction stands for 23 years and counting. And the headline says, an apparent casualty of Houston authorities' evidence purges in the 1990s. Odoms holds photos of his 2 daughters and other relatives. This was my last hope, he said, of the evidence kit lost from his case. Odoms is 22 years into a 65-year sentence for a rape he insists he didn't commit. The district attorney at the time now regrets discarding stores of DNA evidence. And this was written by Miles Moffitt. The Denver Post, published July 24th, 2007. So apparently the Denver Post was doing some type of, how'd you get them involved?
Okay, Barry Scheck was involved first.
Okay.
The Innocent Project. And they the first one that came down here and tried to find the evidence so they could do a DNA, because this is what they do, DNA. But they could never find them because they were thrown away. It was trashed.
Now who trashed it?
Chuck Rosenthal, John Holmes, and James Baldwin,
Oh, wow. Who was James Baldwin?
the head lab chemistry.
Oh, wow.
9,000 cases.
Wow.
9,000 cases. Miss Ard knows about it, because when I first got home, she said that when she first got in office, she said that she was going to start a program that was going
Try
to
to
go
get
over
those
all.
rape kits.
Yes, ma'am. Try to get all.
We are trying to do that.
I know.
It's harder than you want, because when you work for the government, you got to get funding for
I
that.
know.
And there's no funding, obviously, for it. But that is one of our projects.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a project. So, and what's the lab guy's name again?
James Baldwin.
James Bolden?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so apparently you appealed your cases. That didn't work out in the appeals.
No, it didn't.
Who was the lawyer that did the appeal for you? Do you remember?
Wow, he didn't do nothing. He did. You know what?
What's his name?
I'm finna think of his name if I can remember him, since he didn't do anything.
But remember, 99.9% of all cases are not reversed. That was a very frustrating part of my practice, because I did a lot of appeals, and I could write my best research paper, stay up nights and nights and nights, and I knew that whatever I wrote, it was going to be the state's brief, and that's what the opinion was going to be. It just didn't matter. I felt that it didn't matter.
No, ma'am, they did. But I really can't.
It don't worry, it doesn't
I
matter.
can't even say his name.
But anyway, so you had the appeal, and then many years later, you get Barry Scheck, the Innocence Project, involved.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
in your original trial, and back in those days, there was no DNA to decipher. Although the lady had a rape kit done,
Yes, ma'am.
DNA could only tell blood tests,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Blood
You're right.
types.
And he didn't even do that.
They didn't even do that.
No, ma'am.
And your lawyer didn't insist upon that.
No, ma'am.
And the Court of Appeals in a writ didn't think that was inappropriate, that they didn't even do a blood typing on you?
Well, it should have been, but it wasn't, because Frank Rush didn't even go try to get a blood test done. Matter of fact, he gave me a private investigator. Mm-hmm. And the private investigator came to me. Mm-hmm. He said, Mr. Odoms, I did all I can do for Mr. Frank Rush. He said, I did everything I can do for him. I said, are you coming to the trial? He said, no, I did my job. I'm not coming. Mm. And I was like, I wonder why. I said, well, what did you get out of it? Mr. Rush will tell you. But he never told me anything.
So you never got anything out of the private investigator?
Out of Mr. Rush. Now the private investigator told me he did his part, he gone.
But what was that?
I don't know, whatever documents he went and got and called himself, getting them to him. But he never...
But you said Mr. Rush didn't put any documents in the evidence, right?
No, he didn't.
So what documents were they?
I don't know, they didn't never show. I ain't never seen them.
Well, we have 10 minutes left, and Danny has been quiet just looking. So, Danny, what questions and thoughts do you have? I don't want to, leave you out. Thank you for coming, and thank you for getting Mr. Odoms with his interesting story. You know, Mr. Odoms is one of those that we're going to have a part 2 on him, because it's too much. It's too, 34 years in prison. We're going to have to talk about this again someday. We're going to get a part 2 for him, because I know he didn't get to talk about all the things he wants to talk about.
Well, for one thing is you survived.
Oh, yes.
And you lived through what happened to you. And from listening to you, what happened to you got better. And so you've been out 6 years, and you hadn't returned back to prison, and
Amen.
you haven't gotten in trouble.
What a blessing. That's a blessing. Let's give him a clap. Yep, we're proud of you for that.
2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, yeah, 6 years.
6 years.
So
2012.
you mentioned that you read scriptures and you have a sense of faith. So whatever happened to you, it didn't destroy you.
Oh, no.
And I think that you being here and sharing your story with other people will give them hope, because somebody right now has family members that may or may not be in the prison system here in Texas, wrongly convicted on evidence that wasn't presented. They may have had people that wanted to testify that weren't allowed to testify.
Yes, sir.
Someone may be in prison now that was lied on, as you described what happened to you. But hopefully this story will get out and always be there for someone that's there, that there's hope, that there's life out there in incarceration. And a lot of what you've done since you've been out of prison says something about the character of man before you went to prison. And I want to tell you, I believe your story. I believe that what you said happened is factual. I regret you had to experience what you experienced. But being a person that's also been in the prison system, I also believe that I don't want to say a better person, but morally and character-wise, it helped me shape me into a better man through that experience than most of anything else that probably I could have experienced. We have a mutual friend that's out there probably listening that I was incarcerated with, and were you incarcerated with Joe too? Did you meet Joseph in prison? The person that told you to contact me.
Yeah, I know him in prison. And I know him also from going to the little program over there off of 45, off the freeway.
Okay, so you're still on active parole?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to go to SO class every Thursday.
Sex offender class.
Yes, you got.
Did you have to admit to being a sex offender before you could get paroled out?
No.
You never had to admit to the crime?
No, ma'am. I wouldn't admit it to that, no way. No, ma'am.
Stick to your conviction. But you do have to go to the sex offender class.
I go there and do the best I can.
How often do you go?
Every Thursday. And you pay a $20 fee every Thursday that you go.
And what are you doing there?
Well, sitting down, listening, and learning a lot of stuff from other guys that are...
Is it like a place where everybody's talking about their
Yes, ma'am.
experience?
It's round at the table, and they give you a lot of paperwork, and they want you to fill out, and they give you paperwork like, say your name, and just your name on there, and they say your name. My name is Donald Odomes, and I raped so-and-so and so. And I say, I can't sign that. And they say, but you're going to have to, or you refusing the class. I say, well, you can call it what you want to.
But one of the things you could probably put on there is, my name is Donald Odomes, and a jury convicted me of raping someone. But that's not you admitting it. Because that's what happened.
I
mean, that's factual, right?
Yes.
I mean, a jury convicted you of it.
Okay. I didn't know I could do that.
I mean, I don't know the rules, but I'm just saying
No,
that's a
that's
fact.
good. That's good.
I mean,
what you
I mean,
just
that's
said.
what you-
Yes,
that's what
ma'am.
happened.
Because I wasn't going to put that Donald Odomes did this on there. And I told them in the room, if I would have done that, you would have knew it because I see it on this paper. And not only that, I'd have stand on top of Mount Everest and tell you I done it. And what can you do? You kill me, you can't eat me. So I was very aggressive with, a lot of them because of the way they try to treat me. Then I got to go to parole. I go see parole like twice every month. I have to go see parole.
Is your parole officer reasonable?
Yes. He's African. His name is Mr. Shalaka. He's the best one I've...
So you say two times a month?
Yes, ma'am, about 2 times a month.
Okay.
He set the right dates for me, and they do house visits. The police can stop visiting the houses now, but they usually come visit your house just to see if you're there.
Right, because you have to be a registered sex offender, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How does that affect you?
Oh, I don't like it. I really don't. I don't like that. But it's something that I have to accept.
Right.
I have to accept this because
At least you're free.
there's nothing that I'm going to do that's going to make anything worse than what they already are.
Right.
And I try to compromise with people if I can.
Do you live in a house or an apartment?
I stay in the house.
Okay. Well, one of the things you might want to do, because one of the things about registering is if a rape or something happens in the community, the people who are registered are the ones they're going to come to first.
Yep, they'll do that first.
So you might want to have cameras at your house just to show, at least it'll kind of show when you're there and when you're not there. I know in the house I think I have what you call it, not 1 gigabyte, one trigabyte, I don't know, something real big to where, you know, it might record for like a month before it turns over. But sometimes you need proof. And police come to my house because it's on a corner, and they, if they are looking for a suspect or something, they've come and downloaded video.
But I've never had that happen yet, Miss O. Thank God for that. And your parole officer, he's got a sheet so long with all the names on it of the sex offenders. And most of them that got child cases, they can't do the Halloween.
Right.
And he assured me that, Mr. Odomes, you're doing just fine. You're all right. You can do Halloween, you trick or treat, or whatever you want to do, you know. I said, all right, Mrs. Shalaka.
Yeah.
And some of the parole officers don't call you and let you know they're finna do a home visit. They come there to try to catch you not being there so they can write some paperwork on you, which is not fair. Fairness, you ain't gonna never have to get or worry about getting it because you got to accept it the way it is. And I should tell guys that, look, man, you know that you're a sex offender. So when you feel like someone is coming by your house, or you got to be there and you know this. So ain't no sense in crying about it because you got to be there. This is the stipulations they got on us. Even though they might not be right trip stipulations, but they got them on us.
Right.
So mine, he will call me and let me know he's coming.
Are you able to work?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Well, I was working for no real security.
Okay.
Then I was working for a sheet mill plant, which didn't last long. Right now, I'm not working. So I'm still doing
Does
pretty
parole
good.
I try to help you find a job?
Well, right now, I had high blood pressure. I got arthritis in my hands. I got my back is messed up. So I ain't doing no work right now.
Trying to get healthier?
Well, yes, I am a veteran, and I do get a pension from them. So they kind of fixed me up a little bit.
Okay. Well, you know,
And now
Danny works for the VA.
Yes, so you know.
They're telling me we have 30 seconds, and I know we didn't go over all the things you want to, but
that's okay.
If can we make a date for you to come back in part 2? We can talk about all the things that are frustrating to you, and if you have any paperwork from Barry Scheck, maybe we can go over that and explain that to our audience and try to talk about how that process works. Because I know we didn't get into the real good stuff you want to, but your story is long. You've had a long life.
Yes.
And you've been through a lot of experiences that the average person has not. And like Danny said, you give us hope because it shows that somebody can do 34 years, not be bitter, come out and be humble. You know, you have a fiance, she's out there watching the show, so you can be honest and upfront about your life.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
that you can still have a life.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, after 65 years. Isn't that a blessing?
Yes, ma'am, it is. That's more than a blessing to me.
Because I know you've watched a lot of people die in prison.
Oh,
You
yes,
said
ma'am.
at Darrington they were dying every day.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, man.
It was bad, huh? So next time you come, we'll talk about, tell us some of the stories about Darrington. We'll spend about 30 minutes on that, and we'll spend the other 30 on this Denver article, because I find it to be interesting. We printed it out so that we could talk about it, and your life was so interesting, we never got to it. But what we did here was really good, and I'm being told to wrap this up, Danny.
All right. Thank you for your courage to telling your real truth on Truth and Justice with Vivian King.
Yes, sir. I want to thank y'all both, too, for having me here. So when you get ready to set it up again, all you have to do is tell
Danny.
Tell Mr. Danny, and
All right.
he'll
Well,
let me know.
Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King tonight. It was a great, fascinating story about Donald Odomes, part 1, and we'll be with part 2 soon. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in again tonight. We have something really good, a hot topic in the news this week. He's been charged with crime. This is a show where I